everybody, welcome. Today we're going to be working on Saxon Lesson 33, Suffix ED. All right, so I'd like you to go ahead and take out your worksheet 33. So once you have your worksheet 33, I want you to take your pencil. I want you to put a line through 1 through 10. We're not going to be using that. So go ahead and put a line through 1 through 10. Okay, when you're done putting your line through it, put your finger next to number 11. Number 11. Okay, pause if you need to, but if not, go ahead and put your finger next to number 11, and we're gonna spell a word, okay? We're gonna spell the word sting, 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 like a bee, sting. Ow! I don't like bee stings. Do you? I don't want to get a bee sting. 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 Okay, pause if you need more time. Otherwise, go ahead and put your finger next to number 12. Number 12. Okay, number 12 is singing. 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 Good job. If you need more time, pause the video and spell the word singing on number 12. If not, we're going to go ahead and move forward. All right, so I have written down some words on my whiteboard, and I want you to take a look at them. So each of these words ends with a suffix. Can you name it? What suffix is at the end? Suffix ed. Good job. Do you think suffix ed is a vowel suffix or a consonant suffix? Let's take a look at it. It's a vowel suffix. Good job. Why though? Because it begins with a vowel. Good job. How do we code a suffix? Do you guys remember? How do we code suffixes? We box them. Good job. You guys are so smart. So we're going to box the suffix ed. So box it, and box it. All of them are boxed now. So what should we do after we box the suffix ed? We should make sure that there is a root word. Good job. Now let's take a look. Ask, good. Fill, missed. So all of these have a root word. What do you think suffix ed means? What does suffix ed mean? Let's take a look at some of the words we have here. Maybe it'll give us a hint. Okay, so asked. If I asked you a question, has it already happened? Yes, you're right, it has. So what does suffix ed mean? It means it already happened. Great. There's something unusual about suffix ed though. Let's echo these words and listen at the final position of these words. Listen for it, okay? Ready? Asked. Filled. Misted. So asked, filled, misted. How many sounds does the suffix ed make? You're right, it makes 3 different sounds because asked, filled, misted, ed. Do you hear it? So it makes the t, d, and ed sound. So the sound of the suffix ed is determined by the following rules. Suffix ed says t after an unvoiced letter. So asked, asked. Okay, let's take a look at these words. We have 3 different words on our board. We have mist, tanned, sanded. So, how many syllables are in the word mist? Let's clap this one out. Mist. 1 syllable. You're right. Now, how many syllables are in the word tanned? Tanned. 1. What about in the 3rd word, sanded? Let's try it. Sanded. Sanded. There's 2. So there's 1 in mist, 1 in sand, and 2 in sanded. How interesting, huh? A syllable is a part of a word that has its own vowel sound. When suffix ed makes a d or t sound, it doesn't make a vowel sound, so it doesn't add a syllable. When suffix ed makes the ed sound, it adds a vowel sound, and this adds a syllable to the word, like in sand-ed, sand-ed, because it adds that extra vowel sound at the end. Let's try this, adding ing to the word lift. How many syllables are in the word lifting? Lifting. Lifting. There's 2. You're right. You guys are so smart. If a suffix doesn't have its own vowel sound, it doesn't add a syllable. Add suffix s to lift. Lifts. Lifts. Does that add a vowel sound at the end? No, it doesn't. You're right. So, therefore, it only has 1 syllable. How many syllables? How many syllables are in the word lifted? Let's try. Lifted. Lifted. There's 2. When we add suffix ed to a word that ends with a d or t, the suffix says ed. Since ed has its own vowel sound, it adds a syllable to the end. Ed. Lifted. Lifted. Okay, we're going to take a look at the words we were working on before, the ones that we boxed. And we're going to finish coding them. So, we have the word asked. Asked. How do we code the word asked? What do we look for? We look for the vowel. I found it. How do we code it? Well, it's followed by a consonant, so how do we code that? How do we code a vowel followed by a consonant? Bingo. We code it with a breve. We code it with a breve, just like that. Except for you can't really see it. I had to get a new marker. Code it with a breve. Okay, filled. We are gonna look for, what do we see? What do you see when you look at the word filled? I see a twin consonant. So we'll put a line through one of those, and then I see our vowel. How do we code our vowel? It's followed by what? A consonant, so we code it with a breve. Good job. Now let's look at this word, mist. It's followed by a consonant, so we code it with a breve. There's also going to be another little sneaky thing here. There's going to be an accent in between the 2 syllables. So mist, ed. So we're going to put the accent right here. after the T and in between the T and the E, okay? So misted, just like that. So when you go to code your words on your worksheet, you're gonna be looking for things like this, okay? Now, we'll finish coding the other words we were looking at. Mist, tanned, and sanded. So first, for mist, what do we code? We code ED. How do we code it? How do we code ED? We code it with a box. Good job. Ooh, I see something too. I see something. Twin consonants. What do? Cross one out. Good job. And then we have our vowel. How do we code our vowel? Well, it's followed by a consonant. So how do we code that? You're right. We code it with the breathe. Now we have the word tanned. Ooh, it gets coded with a box around the suffix. And then we have twin consonants. So we gotta what? Cross one out. And then we have our vowel. How do we code that vowel? It's followed by what? A consonant. So we code it with a breathe. Good job. Now we have the word sanded. Sanded. Coded with a box. Then we have the and it's followed by what? A consonant. So we code it with a breathe. Now also for this word, because it's sand-ed, it gets a special accent right here. We put a little accent because the suffix ed is making a second syllable sound. Ed. Not tanned, sand-ed, mist, sand-ed. Good job. So you put a little accent mark right there. Okay. Now, let's move on. We're going to practice coding words like those that will be on today's worksheet. So we have the words thanked, clanged, hinted. How do we code these words? Well, let's take a look. What do you see first on this? You got it. Suffix ed. We gotta box it. Then what do you see? Thanked. How do we code th? With what? Underlining it. Good job. And then we have the a, thanked, and we code it with a breathe. Why? Because it's followed by what? A consonant. Good job. Now we have the word clanged. Clanged. We code it with a box. We box it. Now we have, ooh, what else do you see? Ung. How do we code ung? You're right. We underline it. And then we have the a. It's followed by a consonant, so we code it with a breathe. Oh, and then there's one more thing. Don't forget. K, k. What sound is the C making? K, k. You're right. K. So it needs a K back. Do you see that? So we got the K back on the C. A has a breathe. NG gets underlined, and the ED gets boxed. Now we have the word hinted. Hinted. Hint ed. Ed. Oh, do you hear that? Hint ed. How many syllables does it have? Hinted. Let's try it. Let's clap this one out. Hinted. Oh, it has 2 syllables. Okay, we're gonna need that for later. So, first we're gonna what? Box it. And then we have our vowel, I. It's followed by a consonant, so it gets coded with a breve. Then we have the fact that hinted has 2 syllables. So we got to give it a special little accent. Just like that. See? Hinted. Good job on the coding, guys. So I want you guys to go ahead and get your worksheets back out. We're going to take a look back at that. We're going to practice spelling words that end with ED. So once you have your worksheet out and ready, we'll get started. Okay, pause if you need to, if you still need to go get it. I'd like you to put your finger next to number 14. Before I have you spell the word, I want you guys to remember something. ED makes 3 different sounds. So it can make a T sound at the end of a word, it can make a D sound at the end of the word, or it can make a ED sound at the end of the word, okay? All right, you guys got this. Put your finger next to number 14. We're going to spell the word helped. Helped. Number 14 is the word help. Helped. Go ahead and pause if you need to. Okay, now put your finger next to number 15. Number 15 is the word filmed. Filmed. F-I-O-M-D. Filmed. Okay, pause if you need to. Otherwise, put your finger next to number 16. The word is rested. Rested. When you get a good night's sleep, you feel nice and rested. Rested. R-E-S-T-E-D. Rested. Okay, go ahead and pause if you need to. So now I want you to put your finger next to number 17. We're going to take a look at this one together. So we have the word fill and filled. Fill and filled. We're going to code both of these words. Okay, so go ahead and get your pencil ready. We're going to take a look at fill. What do you see when you look at the word fill? There's twin consonants. So what are we going to do? Cross one out. And then we have our vowel, and we're going to code it with what? It's followed by a consonant, so we're going to code it with a breve. Great job. Okay, now take a look at the word filled. What do we do first? We box the ED. Good job. Filled. Then we're going to what? There's twin consonants, so we're going to cross one out. Then we have our vowel, which is followed by a consonant, so we're going to code it with what? A breve. Good job. So number 17 should look like this. Coded with a breve. It's a twin consonant, so one gets crossed out. Then you're going to look at the filled, the past tense of it. It already happened. Filled. You're going to fill the bucket, and you filled the bucket. So you have boxing the ED, crossing out one of the twin consonants, and coding the vowel with the breve. Great job, guys. Now we're going to take a look at the next word is crack and cracked. Crack. So what do you see? I see a CK. Good job. You underline it, and then you also cross out the C. And then we have a vowel, and how do we code that? It's followed by a consonant, so how do we code it? With a breve. Good job. Now we have cracked. Cracked. We got a box the suffix ed, and then we have underline CK, and then what? Cross out what? You're right, the C. Then we have our vowel, and how do we code our vowel? Good job, we code it with a breve. Great job. So yours should just look exactly like that. The A should have a breve. CK should be underlined with the C crossed out. And same thing goes for this, for cracked, except for the ED should be boxed. Great job, guys. You guys are amazing. Now, for the rest of the words, I would like you to do the same thing, and I want you to code the word and then the past tense of the word, which is the ed, with the suffix ed attached to it. That's for numbers 19 through 21, because we did 17 and 18 together. So then 19 through 21, code the words, code them, and then read them, code them. Then you have 22 through 26. I want you to look for suffixes. It could be suffix ing, suffix ed, suffix s. I want you to look for digraphs. I want you to look for th. Is it voiced or unvoiced? All right. And don't forget the vowels. Code the vowels too. Does it get coded with a breve or a macron?